Just so everybody knows, we'll start here in just a few minutes for the yanDNA AMA. All of the questions today have been submitted in a Google form. Okay, looks like we are ready to start here. Thank you everybody for attending this AMA. This is being hosted by Pack Protocol. My name is Ross McDonald, and so far who we have as speakers here with us, we have Drew Saunders, David Gochstein, Jason Corley, and we may have a couple more joining in, but thank you everybody for jumping in. How's everyone doing here with our speaker group?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ross, for putting this together. We're happy to be here. We're super excited for yanDNA.
Yes, thanks for having us, Ross. Appreciate it.
Yeah, as I think the rest of us are. This has been a long time coming.
Oh, absolutely.
David, you're a little quiet there.
What's that? I'm sorry?
David, you're a little quiet. How you doing, David?
Are you guys not hearing me?
I hear you fine.
I can hear you now.
Okay. No, I was saying, hey, what's going on, everybody? Drew, nice to see you. Jason, and thank you, everybody, for showing up today. I appreciate it.
I thought we would start things off by just going to Drew and just asking you, what's it like, getting to this point? This has been a long time coming, this software, with your vision and, our core developer, Yan. This has been designed so well, and it's taken a while to get here. How do you feel about things?
Oh, man, it's one of those, we've been excited for yanDNA for many months. I think it was probably January at the beginning of this year, or maybe even last year, where we started exploring IPFS. I mean, I forget, time's been flying so fast, especially because of the pandemic, but our team has worked very well, given the circumstances that a lot in the world have had to deal with because of that pandemic. But regardless, we've been able to work together, really bring to life a vision that was a very rough draft in its beginning stages of what we wanted it to look like, the functionality. We obviously want to put a lot of the power of, who controls your data, who sees it, who has access to it, et cetera. We want to put a lot of that power into the people's hands. And as we continue to work with IPFS and, using the backbone of Pack Protocol's Masternode network to be the scaling, effect for this network, it's been super cool to see so many features get added to yanDNA that were not originally there. That's one thing that, any good, not any developer can agree with. Once you start working on something, you kind of fall in love with it. And, like you mentioned, one of our core developers, Yan, his name's all over this. It's called yanDNA for a reason, because, he's been such a huge aspect to this being produced and brought to life. He's one of the main ones that, we would go back and forth, and he'd come up with so many different features I didn't think of, hey, why don't we put this in there? It allows, the user to preview something, or to give them more access to how it's being received on the other end. So, there's a lot of cool features that have added its way into our products as time goes on. And that just shows, the passion of our team. And we really want people to enjoy what we put out there. And we're super excited. Q3 was our deadline for it to be put in the public's hands. We know we stressed it to the end, but that wasn't by, any negative reason. It was just us wanting to make sure everything looks good, and all the features we want in there, it's ready to go. So we're excited.
It's incredible. Jason, for yourself, you've been such a longtime member of Pack Protocol. How are things from your perspective? For everyone who doesn't know, Jason works heavily with brand development. He works with ambassadors and public relations, those sort of things. What's your perspective, Jason?
Oh, actually, thanks, Ross. I appreciate that. And thank you, everyone, for coming out today. We really appreciate everybody's support. From my perspective, we've really grown tremendously in that we have really moved out to enterprise, and we are really branching out with white label products. That's kind of the area that I've been, spearheading. And the majority of everything that we are doing is all built off the back of yanDNA, and everything that Yan has built, Drew, and all of our great developers. So, for me, watching the growth and seeing where we're at now from where we were, say, 2 years ago is just astounding. And I'm just proud to be a part of the team. And I thank everybody again for giving us the opportunity and the platform to come out here and talk about, what we're passionate about, which is securing your data, as well as giving you the opportunity to take back your data and have monetization options with it. So I'm proud of what we've built, and I'm just happy to be here today.
That's awesome. David, how about you from your perspective? You're in the trenches of social media and brand development in the blockchain industry. What's your perspective?
Listen, I'm just excited. Drew said it earlier. We met the deadline. I'm happy to finally tomorrow, the 30th, people will be able to go ahead and sign up and get their hands on yanDNA, and then we go from there. Really, that's really it. I've talked about yanDNA for a number of weeks now, and if you do care about your data, you will go ahead and get yanDNA into your hands.
Fantastic. Well, we love hearing from our core team, and we appreciate our team members for all listening in as well, and the community for all being here. Let's get to this AMA. Let's get to these questions. We've had these all submitted through forms, and we're going to have some very simple questions, and we're going to have a few technical questions so that we can get everybody informed and have everyone understand exactly what's being released tomorrow. So one of the first questions here is from Assad, and he asks, is yanDNA open source?
I'll go for that. So yanDNA, it's all custom coding. Yan, like we mentioned before, one of our core developers, he's been the one that has really dived into the UI, the functionality of IPFS, and then the user interface of it. Not all of the coding is open source because of how Jay mentioned of how we have the business solution enterprise section that we're going towards. We obviously put a lot of attention towards that, but making ourselves available as a development company using IPFS and using the backbone of Pack Protocol to create white labeled products for different data reasons, data needs. We have a lot of different ongoing NDAs that we can't really get into, but a lot of promising partnerships where IPFS is going to be it's going to be a focus point of how data gets from point A to point B. And that's why we have to be vigilant and make sure that we're paying attention to both, the business enterprise solutions, which sometimes it's going to be probably, some people will need a private network, for their needs, for their reasons. Like a business might need their own private network using IPFS. Maybe they'll have to accumulate their own section of Pack Protocol nodes to run that, or they open it up to be supported by the public as well in their nodes. But some of the coding might be closed off because it's their solution for what they need. The community, open source, overall, everyone can access yanDNA. They can support IPFS with the servers and the requirements. That, of course, to be able to run one of those servers, it's going to need to be open source for that to happen. There's going to be 2 steps for this, for yanDNA to really take its full launch. What's being released now, it's considered beta. Reason for that, we want to push this into everyone's hands. And as we know, when we're building a product, whether it's just a simple wallet or whatever, we're talking about yanDNA, so we'll stick on that. But when we're building yanDNA, we know things that are going to be added as time goes on. We know there's going to be updates. We know, if the product's never been in the public's hands, we can only test it as so much as we can. And we're obviously at that point where we think it's good to go and we want everyone else to have it. But there's, it's inevitable that there might be a small bug here or there, or even just a small thing of like a little typo in the UI. Like you never know. And so that's why we consider it a beta, to where we can take, all this feedback that we get, make it better, add new features. And eventually when we get to that point of, okay, we have business enterprise solution using yanDNA, and also we have the community supported one, there's going to be 2 different options that people are able to, based off their needs. And yeah, the community would have access to the open source.
That's incredible. It's exciting for other developers or companies that want to build things. We've had a lot of inquiries for that, obviously. But it's exciting to get into beta for an undetermined time. It won't be too long. It won't be too short. Obviously. Can you speak a little bit about that? What will we want to achieve here during the beta, and how can we look at heading towards the full release of yanDNA?
Sure. So it was just like an overall decision that we kind of made together as a group. Couple of different, main points that really made us come to that conclusion was with the addition to Yan token being added to the Pack protocol ecosystem, we obviously really want that to start, getting circulated around, or I guess to break that down a little easier, the Yan token supply basically starts at zero. It does start at zero. It starts at zero when it starts getting added to the network, and masternodes are rewarded Yan for their contribution to the network. So we want there to be enough time for masternode owners to get accustomed to receiving Yan token, seeing what it looks like to them on their side, and then also give people time to play around with yanDNA without having to need to deposit Yan token for collateral. That way they can play with it. They don't got to worry about Yan. And then those that don't have a masternode, well, those that don't have a masternode, they wouldn't be getting Yan token right away anyways, right? So we didn't really think it was fair for those that don't have a masternode to not be able to use the platform right away, or at least be able to experiment with it. That's why we decided to make it a beta, include a little bit of free storage for individual accounts for this beta, so that Yan token can circulate, and also we can get our community and our users the ability to mess around with the yanDNA. And we also have that bug bounty that's active right now. So hopefully, we have a couple of things that get brought to our attention so we can make improvements. And when we're good to go and the community gives us the green light that they think we're good to go, then we'll move on to that next stage. I touched on that a little bit, but it's both, because like a need for data, the simple need of a mom needing to pictures that she takes of her kids, or instead of just using Instagram all day long, Dropbox, having the ability to use a decentralized storage network, so that you can keep them private. That could be a reason you use yanDNA. You might want to store files that you don't even want to share. Like, it's just there for your personal storage. So there's a reason why it's definitely for individuals. On top of that, there's going to be a very easy method for individuals to post their files or their data or their content is another word to describe that, and they can distribute to their followers or their people that want to see what they post on their content. We see that used on YouTube, all these different platforms that are popular today, where people are able to put themselves out there as creators and users able to watch them or comment, even donate. There's going to be an option where in yanDNA, people can start distributing their own content and putting their own quote unquote price tag on it, or whatever it is that they want to accept for distributing their data or their content. So that's definitely a method where individuals can use that. And if you open the box and think about, what conversations us as a company can get in with different partners of what they need data distribution for, whether it be, the Hollywood industry, whether it be medical field, the law field, sports, athletics. Communication is everywhere. Communication is the internet. We all use the. I don't think, most people walk around without the phone in their. We're always connected to our phone. Basically considered, an extension of ourselves. We're always on it. We're always using it. It even listens to us half the time, and we get advertisements for things that we talk about with our friends. That's all data that flows on networks. So if we can change that to where that data flow is only controlled by those that own the content and want to share it, and that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're planning to do. So there's definitely the option for individuals to take advantage of this and to use this as private storage or monetization of their content, but it's also definitely available for us to make white label products for our different partners and their data distribution needs.
That's going to hit, I mean, like, which industry are we going to talk about right now? Because, like, obviously, I can't speak freely, or we would go ahead and potentially lose those deals. Um, but in general, we're trying to hit every industry. You know, we speak about this, or at least I speak about this a ton, where we're not just we're not just going to be relegated to the crypto industry. You know, we're going to go outside of it, obviously into enterprise, and whoever's out there who sees a benefit in using our white label product, they'll jump on. You know, I've spoken to one or two, don't want to name names, but they're super interested, and hopefully, you know, things come together. Again, we're working really hard in the background to go ahead and um, that people get this in their hands and they use it, and you know, you finally control your data. You are fully in control of your data.
Well, I would just, sorry if my mic was breaking up earlier. I think I fixed it. But anyways, yeah, so the best way is just to keep up, you know, keep up with the community updates, keep up with not only the community users as well. You know, it's not if you follow our Twitter, and our Twitter is here, you know, information being spread here, but also our Discord and our website, you know, there's a lot of different methods where all users can collaborate with each other and come up, you know, figure out ways that this can be better, cover bugs together, and just overall make this better. Keeping up with our developers, it's important for users to update if necessary, but also just to learn new things. You know, we're all learning together. IPFS is not something that's, you know, out there everywhere, and that it's just, oh, we can copy something and make it better. No. Like blockchain itself is so new. IPFS is so new. Everything that we do is innovative, and it's learn as we go. And you know, the community does play a good part in that, as using what we produce, and we're happy that we're excited about it. And we can't do this. We can't have a proper product launch without the people. So that's, you know, I did want to mention that without any of these users paying attention to updates and, you know, paying attention to other communities and spreading the word of how they can use DNA and how it's benefiting them, and maybe getting other individuals to take a peek at it. It's, you know, it's a group effort.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And listen, you know, I gotta give a huge shout out, which I always do, but he's finally here. Drew, gotta give Drew a huge shout out. Of course, Yan's in the crowd, along with Jason, the entire team. Like, it deserves a lot of credit. These guys go day in, day out, just like working their tails off. And you know, I'm really excited because you know, we met quarter 3. Like that, honestly, Drew, like I don't care if I'm going like off topic here, but like we met quarter 3. So that's freaking so exciting. And especially all the loyal uh, the loyal community that we have in PAC. We
Oh,
appreciate you.
absolutely.
Totally
Absolutely.
appreciate you. Every single one of them.
And those in the development world, never put a deadline. Never put a deadline on some, in the development, because things happen. It's happened that you weren't, and now we got to push back. And perfect example of that, look at the pandemic and how many things got canceled. Movies didn't come out until a year later. Things happen, and I was super happy and just overall impressed of how our team, not even in the same location. I mean, we're a decentralized team as far as location based, and we're able to still communicate, still come up with things that we want to get done and get it done with the time that we say that we want to. When it comes with what we can control with it being a product and we put a deadline, we've done good at making sure that happens. We obviously have other things that we set as goals that we want to make sure that we hit, and make sure that and just like yanDNA, we hit our mark. And you nailed it, David. I mean, we're able to move forward and take those any input that we get on time instead of delaying that part. I mean, that's a very important part of a product launch as well, is getting feedback, and we won't have to or delay that part of it. So it's exciting.
Just real quickly, because I'm getting DMs, guys. Twitter Spaces, obviously, Twitter developed this outlet for us to go ahead and speak on. Unfortunately, if it sounds like we're choppy, it's not on our end. I think I hear us well. We will go ahead and head to the Discord room for a 15-minute chat to go ahead and go over the things that we talked about here. This is recorded, so it will be posted up on YouTube after. So again, just wanted to touch base on that, because I'm getting a ton of DMs, guys. Like, we don't control this at the end of the day, and I hope you heard us.
Okay, let's break that up. What was the first question? Oh, okay. Well, essentially, so Yan token is something that's integrated into the PAC protocol chain. It's something that, it's an addition to the reward cycle for masternodes performing their duty by, reporting, validating transactions, etc. The difference in between, I guess, Yan token and that development versus yanDNA is that yanDNA is IPFS integration. It's not directly, IPFS is not directly tied into the PAC protocol network. PAC protocol and IPFS, how they're related and connected, is that PAC protocol has a massive and ever-growing Masternode network that has thousands and thousands of servers already live and active, which has extra storage space. When you have a server that's providing the requirements needed for a masternode, if your server has remaining storage, that can be contributed to IPFS. yanDNA, at its beta release, is going to be supported by servers that are by the LLC and our partners that we own, that we operate, that we make sure that they're running and that there's maintenance on them, that they're performing correctly. The beta is going to be running off of that. When we get to the point of, okay, all the bugs have been solved, or the community gives us the green light, everything looks great, we're going to introduce Yan token after that, to where then people can now start depositing Yan token to access whatever storage amount that they need. When that happens, there will be an update to the yanDNA.
All right, just give us a minute here. Drew is up here, so hopefully everybody can hear us a little bit more clearly. Again, this is a Twitter Spaces problem, not
All right, just
our
give
problem.
us
But we'll
a
be
minute
more than
here.
happy
Drew,
to go ahead and
Drew's
connect
up
with
here,
Twitter to go ahead and help them
hopefully
out.
everybody can hear us.
Drew is here.
a little bit
Drew
more
is the
clearly.
chairman
Again,
of
this is a
Pact
Twitter
Protocol.
Spaces
Drew is always
problem,
nice to go ahead and
not
have you up
our
here
problem.
talking. I know
We'll
that
be
you're
more than happy to go ahead and
working
connect with Twitter to
nonstop,
go ahead and
so
help them out.
I get to talk to you, but you know,
Drew
a
is
lot
here.
of others
Drew
don't,
is the
and
chairman
it's
of
definitely
Pact
appreciated by
Protocol.
the community
Drew
when
is
you
always
come out.
nice to go ahead and have you up here and talking. I know that you're
Let me bring up
working nonstop, so
okay.
I get to talk to you, but you know, a lot of others don't, and it's definitely
Drew,
appreciated
do you hear
by
me
the
or no?
community when you come out.
Yeah, I hear you fine. I
Perfect.
always heard you.
Let me
Perfect.
bring
I
up,
heard you as well. So, but
Okay.
doing the reset, I'm so used to this. It'll allow everybody to hear
Drew,
us.
do you
and-
hear me or no?
So you
Yeah,
have
I
the
hear you
mic
fine.
for the next
I
10 minutes.
always heard you.
What was the
Perfect. I heard you as well. So, but doing the reset, I'm so used to this. It'll allow everybody to hear us, and so you have the mic for the next 10 minutes. What was the question again? Ross, that
It
you
was
had?
just describing the difference between Yan token release and yanDNA.
Perfect.
Just to like re-elaborate that quickly, Yan token is a integration into the Pact protocol network, and IPFS is basically it's a standalone network. It piggybacks on top of the Pact protocol network, obviously, because of the scaling method that Pact protocol offers with the masternodes, with over 20,000 active and growing. So with that as the backbone, as more masternodes are added to the network, when the public version of yanDNA, or Yan network, I should say, for that to scale and more individuals, more community members to have the option to also support IPFS on top of their masternode server, which wouldn't change the server that they need to require, for the minimum requirements, I should say. You always have the option to change your server to provide more resources if you wanted. It doesn't change the reward mechanism. That's just it's a decentralized network. You always have the option to give more if you want, or you do the minimum to receive the rewards by supporting the network and contributing X amount of storage space to both networks. So that's the main difference, is that yanDNA is a software release, IPFS integration, and Pact protocol integration once Yan token is added, but it's not directly, integrated into the Pact network unless a masternode owner decides to support a network. It can be, it's always choice driven.
I think everybody's going to love that. It's important to see things, be refined and work through the beta. I think everyone appreciates that.
Yeah, and it's one thing I just want to kind of elaborate a little more on that, is that we wanted it to be choice optional, because yanDNA is not, or I should rephrase that, Yan network is not going to be the only utility or only solution that the masternode owners want to support. This is the first product release that us as Pact Global LLC is pushing out there for individuals to see how the Pact protocol network can be utilized to scale a data storage network. But they're very well, and I'm not making any future roadmaps ahead of time, but just saying there could very well be another product release that has nothing to do with IPFS, but also needs server support. And the masternode owners would have the choice to support that as well. And it's really cool is that it's a decentralized network. It's not entitled to just us as a development company to be the only one that builds on Pact protocol. Just fortunately, we are the only ones that are building on Pact protocol. So, a lot of people are interested in what we're doing and how we're going to utilize this network. And I'm hoping that once people see that it can be done, there's going to be a plethora of new ideas and use cases that can be presented to the masternode owners to support.
Let's get to some of the technical questions again here from the community. I think this is what a lot of people are waiting for. For example, Murad Toomey asks, when are you going to announce the configuration of the server to be part of the IPFS network? For example, CPU storage available and bandwidth.
So that'll be, I guess the answer to that would be once we get to the point of the community offering of the YAN network to expand, for it to grow, meaning allowing others to support it with the server. Because right now it's just by the servers that we are supporting for the beta. But I did kind of mention on this, and it's also in our documentation for reading. But the initial release of the community supported servers for IPFS, it can be installed directly onto a server that is already supporting a PAC Masternode without needing to upgrade the server or the server specs. You wouldn't have to change anything for the minimum. Of course, like I mentioned before, you can give more if you wanted to, but at initial release for IPFS to be supported, anyone that's already currently running a PAC protocol masternode can easily install it on the same server without hindering the masternode's performance or needing to upgrade the server specs.
That leads us to a very good question that sort of ties into this. Obviously, we're not really talking so much about PAC coin today as we are about YAN and yanDNA. But a question here from Felix Mendoza says, how much will we need to upgrade our masternodes hosted by Vultr? And how does this connect with validating other networks like Gala, Polygon, Flare, or Tron?
Again, you wouldn't have to upgrade your Masternode server at all. If there was ever an update required for the PAC protocol network to run optimally, we would push that. Give everyone information on that. I mean, I guess this is more of an educational question here, because that's a question that very easily in a year could change, because as the blockchain, as any blockchain network, we can talk about Bitcoin, Dash, Ethereum, whatever blockchain network is used, and the more it's used, the more data, the more transactions it needs to be recorded. Otherwise, it never happened. And that's the whole point of blockchain, is that it is an immutable ledger of every transaction that's happened. So as PAC protocol continues to have use, grows in usage, the amount of transactions or data that needs to be recorded within the blockchain is going to grow. That's inevitable. So that's one of those questions that developers have when they're discussing how much a block size should be, how many transactions should be able to fit inside a block, because they don't want to bloat a blockchain to where there's so many transactions that the amount of storage needed to even host one full node of it is expensive. We can see this already is the truth. You look at how much it costs to run a full Bitcoin full node, or an Ethereum full node, or RIP or XRP full node, etc. Dash, that's another one. That's one I guess I could compare directly to, as that's a masternode network. The minimum requirements to run a Dash masternode is more than what it costs to run a PAC protocol masternode, as far as how much server space is needed, because Dash has more transactions on it. It's been around longer. Same with Bitcoin, more transactions on it. It's been around longer. So the longer PAC protocol goes on, the blockchain continues to have use, not only just from the longevity of it, but just usage of transactions, whether it be distributing data or whatever PAC's used for in the future. Eventually, server requirements do have to increase, and that's a given. That's just an education thing on what happens to a blockchain 10 years from now, how much data is on it. And that's one of those questions for that. But as far as PAC protocol and supporting other networks and whatever's going on there, it's all choice driven. The transactions that happen on PAC protocol are only PAC protocol transactions. It's not recording transactions from other networks, except YAN. YAN was one that obviously it will be recorded because it's integrated. But the way that PAC protocol can support other networks such as Tron, Flare, you name it, all our partners that we've already dived in our network with them, gave them the benefits of how can PAC protocol help your network expand. It goes back to servers. It goes back to how many there are. It goes back to how much space there is. As Bitcoin grows and the usage grows, there needs to be nodes that are recording these transactions. If they go offline, there's no more transactions being recorded. You now have an unsafe chain. That's what PAC protocol can offer to any network, really, that has a trouble or has a hard time scaling their network, because A, it wasn't built that way, or B, it's not rewarding enough for the users to do so. And that sometimes comes up as a problem. Even in PAC's history, in the history of PAC, people pay attention to price and, oh, what are the rewards versus how much it costs to run a masternode. PAC protocol has a masternode network that already has 20,000 active globally distributed nodes, full nodes that are active 24/7. This is an automatic, web of servers that any network, blockchain related or not, can partner with and offer to those masternode owners to start running their software for them as well, which could or not include another reward mechanism. That's something that obviously benefits masternode owners and those that own a masternode or pay attention to the growth of the PAC protocol network. It's going to be fun to realize that you are now in control of basically a cell tower, and it's a server that whatever information flies through your tower, you are the one that says what goes through and what does not. PAC protocol, yes, obviously, because it's a masternode that you're owning, but anything that you want to support on top of that, whether it be Flare network or whether it be IPFS or whether it be Tron, that's your choice to install additional software. And with our partners, we hope to come to agreements to where those individuals that are doing this, they're receiving a proper reward.
It's well said, well designed. Another question says, will Yan tokens be available for sale on the exchange? And this comes from Yoshi.
Eventually, obviously, yes, eventually that is going to be a realization. Where and when, that's not something that we have nailed down yet, or a better word is to announce yet. But it is something that's obviously going to be needed for users that don't own or that don't have a masternode. How are they going to acquire Yan token? That's going to be one thing where we're going to work with our current partners and exchanges to try and get it integrated. And then additionally, we have some pretty cool plans of where we can get Yan token listed because of its design of not necessarily being a native token. It's very similar to ERC20, even though it's not. It's different. But we have some cool plans coming with that. It's definitely going to be on some exchanges, and we want to make it as easy as possible as well to where people can swap in between Yan token and PAC.
After this is launched here, data, and after it goes to the full release, there's a few questions in here. What are the plans for marketing this, and who will it be marketed to? And maybe David, you can take that one.
You broke up just a little bit. Can you repeat it? Like I heard it was about marketing, but
yeah. So after the beta and the full release, a lot of people are wondering how this will be marketed and who it will be marketed to.
I mean, we're going to. I mean, me and Jay have been talking about this. We want to go ahead and bring on. We'll probably bring on a marketing company. Correct, Jay?
Yeah, and our ultimate goal is to get this product into everybody's hands as we roll on here in the future and be competitors, like we stated from the very beginning with the likes of Dropbox and Google Drive and whatnot. So we're going to target the audience. We're going to use SEO, SEM. We're also going to do targeted branding, follow back advertising. We're planning out a pretty full scale spectrum, as well as using
Don't tell them everything. Jason, don't tell them everything.
No, well, I'm just, we're just coming out. What I can say is this: we have a full-fledged plan to really come out and give our product to the general public, and that's our true goal: is to get everybody involved, protect your data, give you an opportunity to own your data, monetize your data. A lot of people that I see in here in this chat now are content creators. This gives you an opportunity to monetize your content, and it's just another avenue. But at the end of the day, the thing that I'm most excited about from an enterprise perspective is the ability to go to people with really limitless storage space and the ability to use our network to plug in to the traditional legacy system, where we don't have to compete. We just need them to plug in. And that's really the thing that really excites me about our products, and the advertising we're going to be doing in the future will be stuff that kind of dictates that we're moving in that direction as well. on top of everything else we're doing. So we're really excited. And from an advertising perspective, though, to really top it off, we're going to go full gamut on the digital marketing and advertising, as well as some type of commercials and things of that nature. So we'll be letting some things out here in the near future for everybody to take a look at, and I think everybody's going to be really pleased.
And also, like, I see a lot of people with, like, your avatars are, NFT based. I see some lazy lions. I see some, bored apes. You're gonna wanna use the yanDNA, and we'll further elaborate on that. You need IPFS and for longevity.
You need to own your data, David.
But I think a lot of people don't understand that, and I preach this in the spaces that I go into. Like, you're gonna want to use yanDNA. You're gonna want to make it a part of your life. So that's why I'm excited.
Own the hash. You're gonna want to own the
Absolutely.
hash and the metadata. And if you don't, you're just gonna fall victim to all the legacy system traps, which are they own your content, they can monetize your content, they use your content to provide advertisers with a platform to promote their products. And we're trying to, give that power back to the people. And that's why, again, I think we have something revolutionary for everybody here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the number one thing with NFTs that just first and foremost, if you want to be educated on an NFT, first thing you look at is where is that NFT being stored at. It doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm not talking about what chain created it. I'm not talking about how much it cost you to make it. I'm talking about the server that it was created on, just like a transaction on Bitcoin. It is recorded somewhere. If you don't know where that server is, and or there's no redundancy on whether or not if that server goes offline, it's not retrievable, your NFT is not in your control. It's not safe. You might have bought it, and it might say that you've bought it, but if that server goes offline, you can no longer access what you bought. That's
Correct.
why IPFS is 100% needed for NFTs. Like, period. There's many ways that you could integrate it, change, add your own security to it, as we have, but IPFS is needed for the redundancy aspect of retrieving your information or an NFT or any piece of content that you purchase. At the end of the day, an NFT, replace that word with file. It's basically the same thing. It's a file that is one, like, you know who the owner of that file is. The file can be a picture, video, art, anything. It could just even be a Word document. But regardless, whenever it's uploaded and considered an NFT, if you don't have the location of where that server is, and or basically a network that if the server goes offline, it's still accessible, such as IPFS, then you're going to lose your data. You're not going to change anything. Nothing improved. You just have to understand, when you're getting involved with NFTs, it's no different from a file, and that file is stored somewhere. So IPFS is the guaranteed 100% needed solution for NFTs to be safe and actually in your control.
Hey, Drew, quick question. Can you save like a movie size file and be able to send it and store it throughout our distributed network? Would that be something that that's possible for us?
Absolutely. I mean, a movie file is the least of our concern. Number one thing that I'm actually interested in and doing research on currently is just the amount of data it takes for NASA to transport images that they take from deep space. I mean, this is something that it's real life. Blockchain is not just transactions and dollar signs. It's real life application that needs to be solved of how data gets from point A to point B with speed. That's what people used to, say about Bitcoin or XRP or whatever. Any blockchain network that is already, respected as a means to send transactions for money purposes, they all can appreciate how quickly it can get across the globe and back. Regardless if it was Bitcoin, you got stuck on a weird block, it still completely shatters the record of a bank wire, for the amounts that you could send, and just giving examples. Same thing with just regular data transfers.
Data.
Same exact thing. If NASA needs to send a picture of a galaxy that they took light years away, the amount of time and the amount of storage that file is going to need to flow from where it was to home, I guess you could say, is ridiculous. I mean, it's very simple research. Just look up NASA, official photos how much storage that their pictures take. It's petabytes. It's insane. And so that's something that yanDNA's and not just yanDNA, but IPFS is going to be a massive, solution for getting those files from point A to point B, but also being able to access those files from any location, regardless of where it is stored on the server network.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
So before we wrap up at the end of the hour here, just a couple more specific questions that I know the community wants to hear about. What is the Yan token supply distribution schedule?
Yan token distribution is going to be the exact same timeline, I guess, as the Pack Masternode reward schedule. So if you own a Pack Masternode and you receive a reward in Pack, you are also receiving the 100 Yan token at the same time, and your wait time in between rewards is going to be the exact same time as the Pack Masternode reward. So that's how we've constructed that.
Exactly. Now we have a few future thinkers in the questions here from the Google form, as I would say. Omer and he asks here, and Sean Sully asks a similar question: can we sell our data within yanDNA? And could this also be done on an expiration timeline?
Could repeat the first part of that? Did you say could you sell?
Yeah. Can people sell their data and provide access to it?
Can we sell the data? Like us as
Oh,
individuals. No.
yeah, the individuals, yes.
Well, I'm going to answer both. I'm going to answer both of those. I'm going to answer both of those just in case I got confused or confused someone. First of all, no, we cannot access anyone's data to sell to anyone. So there's that answer. And B, your file, your data, your file, your content, it's yours. You own it. There will be an option in yanDNA for distribution to where if you want to distribute your content to anyone. It can be a public marketplace, or it can be to your friends or to anyone. There will be an option to where you can attach a I guess, quote unquote, price for your information or for your data, for your content. And the more that people want to access it, I guess the more copies of your content that you'll be able to distribute and receive monetization off of.
What if Drew, could you do it where if you wanted to just sell one original copy and have people bid on it, could you do that on the platform as well?
Yeah, you can. We're just getting into questions that it'll be a lot easier for people to understand when Yan token is integrated to where people can start, like if I'm putting Yan into my yanDNA account to access X amount of storage space, like for instance, we'll use this example, 100 Yan equals 1 gigabyte of storage. We'll use that example. When it's integrated, everyone will see the storage metrics for that. But for the example, we'll use that 100 Yan equals 1 gigabyte of storage. When someone does that, they have access to that amount of storage to upload whatever content they want, whatever files, whatever amount equals up to that. If they want to distribute that, they can very well make that a privatized file to where it's only a one and done. And that transaction is basically transferring the ownership of that file from A to B to where the owner no longer has access to his own creation. Or B, which is my preferred method because, and I'll get into this next, but my preferred method is B, it's your content. You're able to set the limit of how many official copies of this content can be owned. And I liken that to kind of like artists, painting artists, when they paint 10 of 10, it's labeled, there's only 10 of them. There can't be more, there can't be less, same kind of thing. The reason why I like that more than it being one and done is because there's already been multiple, not really complaints, but I can see how it can be a complaint, where someone sells an NFT, their creation, and then it gets resold for a greater value, and the original creator doesn't get anything from that, which is true. It wouldn't go down the, go down the tree like that. So, there's a give and take of what a creator wants from their creation. If they want it to be one and they don't want access to it anymore, they want it to be given to someone else. It's all choice driven. If they want it to be where where it's just distributing copies and they're able to keep track of how many copies that they're distributing. Think of, record labels, think of things like that. A music artist can't really be recognized and get popular for their creations if only one person is able to listen to the song.
Yeah.
And then that person now controls where it gets listened to and has all the rights to anything. Like that's not going to work for different industries. So that's why we try and plan ahead. We try and think of, okay, the distribution method doesn't always and can't always just be a one and done. It should always be, creator choice. How many, I guess, quote unquote copies or official copies of the content is available for distribution. And then that's where you can label your price, and your I guess buyers can decide whether or not it's worth it or not.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. So there's options. They can choose basically whatever they really want, essentially, is what it breaks down to.
Correct.
Here is a really good question from Ray. He says, when can node operators expect to see their first yanDNA tokens paid out?
Very, very soon. Very soon. We have an update that's being pushed out across the Pack protocol network soon, once our internal testing is done with Yan token. It's going great. We don't really have any hiccups at all. Just, the internal testing we do to make sure things are running good for everyone else. And obviously it's important because for Yan token to be used and access more storage on yanDNA, we want to make sure there's no, leaks or anything on the network. And it's good. It's a huge innovation for us. I mean, just those that have followed Pack from the very beginning to now, of just how many internal changes to the network we've made to benefit, switching from POW to POS, deterministic masternodes, chain locks, really to be the first blockchain to do all three of those at the same time, actually. And then everything from then on, there is no, oh, this chain's done it first, let's go try and see what they did, and makes it easier on us, try and see what they did wrong and improve it. We don't have that luxury. Everything that we've had to do is from, scratch, from ground up. So, we've moved at the speed of light, in my opinion, as far as, our different updates that we're able to push. And then also just the reception we get from the Masternode network and the owners, they update basically within 3 days. Like, they're super on the ball. They're always paying attention to the network and pushing those updates. So when we get this update ready, where Yan token is now going to be part of your reward mechanism for the Masternode owners, that's going to be pushed here pretty soon. It's just, you guys have to understand, it's not just the community we have to coordinate things with. It's our team, it's marketing, and then one of the most important things is the exchanges. We want to make sure that they update properly on time with our schedule, and nothing goes weird there, because things have happened in the past. So we just have a lot of different kind of avenues that we got to make sure go down the same street at the same time. But it's going to be very soon that update gets pushed.
Great answers. Well, we're at the top of the hour here, and I believe David says that we're going to host another short AMA for those on Discord who didn't catch this one. So if anyone wants to listen there, I believe we're going to move over there, but we will have a yanDNA frequently asked questions that we will work on, these questions submitted from the community, and we will post that very soon. We'll have that out with the launch, and look forward to seeing everybody launch at 5 p.m. tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for being here too. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Join us in Discord.
Yeah, thanks, David. Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Jason. Thanks to the community and all of our team members. We appreciate everybody. Have a great day.
I didn't know there was a YouTube.
Well, let's hit a few more questions here to catch anyone who maybe missed Twitter. Some of the questions, we covered it briefly, but people are asking about, how Pack protocol ties in with yanDNA and potentially passive income streams for some of our partners, such as Flare and a few others.
Well, some of our partners, not all of them, but some of our partners are our partners because they recognize the value of having a data network that they can use in a decentralized fashion. So just like any individual that is going to need Yan token to access whatever amount of storage space they need. These companies or partners that we have accumulated that want to use the same service are also going to need to have Yan token. There's only two ways to acquire Yan token from this point, is to A, have a Masternode when the reward system starts, and B, when the Yan token is inevitably available for users to list their token on exchanges, to sell it, to whatever, people now have access to buy it there. So the same thing goes with our partners and companies. It's not like when Yan token starts, the supply starts at zero. There is not one person here that is gifted any amount of Yan. So if someone needs Yan to access storage space, they're going to need to either accumulate enough pack masternodes to where the Yan token is what they need for their needs, or they're going to have to buy Yan directly from exchanges, which is obviously a method that people that have masternodes that they're receiving Yan, or those that have accumulated Yan in the past for whatever happens, they can use that as a source of income. And or another method that people can accumulate Yan is when a user decides to monetize their content. So if they want to distribute, let's just say a 15-second home video they made, it was funny, something funny happened, they wanted to distribute it, that content is now, quote unquote, effectively an NFT hosted on IPFS, available for distribution. The hash, the metadata is now all in your control. And like I mentioned on Twitter, if you were there, if anyone here was there or not, you'll have the option of it being either a solo creation. So that 15-second home video is a one and done, is how I'm describing it. Meaning if someone purchased it from you for the price that you tied to it, again, your choice, you could say, this 15-second video, I want someone to pay me 5,000 pack for it. Or you could say, I want 5 million, or it could be in Yan, or it could be in another form of cryptocurrency that gets added to the platform in the future. That's something else that we're working on. But what I'm getting at is it's your choice. You can distribute it to one person for 5,000 pack, and now they have access and ownership of that content, and they can choose to do whatever they want with it. They can redistribute it if they want, and they could maybe possibly get paid more than what you got paid for it. I don't like that method, but it's available. But another method is that 15-second video, you can put your own limit of supply of how many copies of this content exists. Meaning the person that acquires this content, they don't own it. They don't have ownership of that NFT. The ownership still remains with the creator. They're just given access to it. So it's our first kind of concept of trying to make this solution of you have an IPFS distribution network for content distribution, but B, you also have a safety net for the creators where they can choose who gets it, they can keep track of how many copies it is, and still retain ownership of their, they were the creator of it.
I'll just say hello to Michael and to Tim, who are in here as well. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, thanks.
Tim, what's your perspective on things? Great to hear your comments for the community. You've been such a huge part of Pack Protocol. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, thanks, Ross and Drew and the team and everybody here for being on. I know everyone's busy, so we appreciate people taking the time. I guess secondly, just looking at this, I need to update my profile with my picture, I guess. So anyways, I digress a little bit. Yeah, so just a little bit of background. So, my company is Summit Blockchain. We're located here in California, and we've been investing in PAC going back to right around July of 2018. So we've been involved with the company for over 3 years, and have been with them not from the beginning, but it was still pretty early on at that point, and we've really sat back, and I guess we've been active and have also, sat back as well, I guess, sort of, alternating there. And we've really seen already some great products come out. I think everybody's familiar with YonSafe and Pack App and all those kind of great things. And so we've seen a lot of wonderful progress being made, although, in our opinion, we think this can really be a game changer. yanDNA, I know there's been countless hours, late nights, early mornings, everything in terms of the development team, and Drew has overseen that. And just sort of the screenshots and some of the functionality I've seen, I'm really excited. And I think it's it's a great time to be involved in Pack and to be right on the cusp of this product coming out, because as Drew mentioned, you have NFTs, which are really hot, but they need to be able to store those and manage those and distribute those effectively. And again, as Drew said, if that is not effective, you run the risk of losing your investment, of losing your NFT. So we see that as a huge opportunity. And then even the bigger picture, as I see it, is blockchain doesn't come automatically with storage. It's not a de facto part of blockchain. So I think what we've seen, and even with David as well, and working with Drew and in securing the partners we already have, which a lot of them are multi-billion-dollar companies. Okay, so these are huge ones, and everyone I think is familiar or can go and look and see who our partners are with. But I think where the key here is, the companies we've already partnered with and we look to partner with in the future, they have a decision to make. Do they spend the money and the resources and the manpower to develop their own storage on their network, A, or B, do they partner with somebody like Pack, who has the largest decentralized network out there in the world that's dedicated to storage? Do they partner with us and get a quick time to market, expand their network? They don't have to hire all the people in-house. They use us. And we are more than happy to be the back end driver of these networks. And so, powered by Pack Protocol, I think you're going to see a lot out there. So, look, the bottom line is we've been involved well over 3 years. We've invested a pretty significant amount of capital in the company. We're excited. We think it's a great day for Pack. And, I think the prospects of storage, it's a never ending battle to keep up with demand, in terms of how much data needs to be stored, and we're there to at least play our part. And I think, again, great days ahead for Pack.
Well said. Thanks, Tim. I wanted to ask a question here to Michael and to Kuhn. For those that know them, these guys, with other team members of ours, are the foundation to our community and our tech support. How have things been, let's say, in the last year for you guys, working with the community, assisting people to get onboarded with masternodes, and what are you looking forward to with the deployment of yanDNA?
Awesome. Hi, everyone. This is Michael. Great question, Ross. Thank you very much for hosting this. It's been awesome to hear the community support come out to hear what we have to say regarding yanDNA. Without the community support, there's no yanDNA. And we value your input so much that there, bounty for bugs. But to get to your question, yes, Kuhn and I, mostly Kuhn, we've been in the trenches helping people set up masternodes all hours of the day, and it's a rewarding experience when we're able to help one community member set up their masternode. And shout out to Steve Trapp, who's a community member and a moderator in the Discord. It's just been exciting just to know that someone has set up their 2 masternodes or 3 masternodes, and it's rewarding because some of the questions are we could solve them. We know the answer to that, but to know how other things on the development side runs, I cannot answer to that. I can't speak to anything about what's happening on yanDNA, but I can speak to how to set up a masternode, and people are excited to get their reward as well. I mean, we reached a big step because back in 2018, 2019, the reward was 2 weeks. Then it increased per day to 20 days. Now it's well over 30 days. And what's so exciting about that is people are supporting the network, and at Pack Protocol, this network is supported by the community, and we want to make sure that they're the first in line to receive the YAN token. Thank you for that question, Ross.
It's incredible to have good support. Like, how many companies do we ask for tech support from? And it takes days, if not weeks, to get support sometimes. Whereas I feel like we're very, very quick getting back to people. Even people who, they're frustrated, they can't figure something out. And then you guys just jump right in and solve the problems. It's actually very, very impressive. I think the community can attest to the facts behind that.
Oh, absolutely. It's incredibly impressive. The work you guys all do, Michael, Kuhn, Steve, all the moderators, Cookies has been here for I don't even know how long, but he's an all-star. And just not even the ability of just being able to do that, but then teach others that are new to where they get to that point of being able to share their knowledge with then new people also. It really takes a lot of the weight off of the entire team's back, knowing that we have each other's back. We're able to assist the community, and I think in the end that kind of makes it to where the community starts to realize that we're people too. I know that they look to us for a lot of answers for PAC and the direction of where it's going to go. What do you think is going to happen by end year? We're people too. We all want the same goals as you, is PAC to succeed. And Michael kind of nailed it on the head. It's super rewarding. You might, listen, think, oh, what's one Masternode? But like Michael mentioned, 2018 to now, the network has grown tremendously. And that's not just because of the same individuals buying Masternodes. We can see the amount of new people that come in. Michael can attest to it. Our moderators, Kuhn, all of us can. Just the amount of people that have been consistently, coming to us for anything, for support. How do I, set up yanSafe correct? I mean, yeah, yanSafe correctly. Some people still use a legacy wallet, and that's not an easy Masternode setup, for a first-time newcomer. If they're not using yanSafe and they want to use an old legacy wallet, that's still some knowledge that is needed, and our moderators have not waived in that. It's impressive to see how fast our network has grown, and it just really attests to how decentralized it really can be with more and more new individuals jumping on.
There's a lot of questions here, and I might put you on the spot here, Drew, but if you can be as vague as you need to be. People are wondering how long the beta is going to be. Maybe you don't want to comment, or maybe you want to give a very wide approximation of that. Is that possible?
Yeah, I don't want people to think it's going to be one of those things where it's beta for years. I mean, the truth, the very simple truth of why it's beta is exactly what I said. We want some time just to go by for Yan to get circulated, Masternode owners to accrue some so that when they can use it for storage access, they have it. And also, if they want have the choice of listing it on some exchanges that we inevitably get it, supported by. So it's not going to be a beta that's like, oh man, it's been a year. Are you coming out of beta yet? It's probably going to be something more or less few months, maybe that. I don't even think it'd be that long. It's just one of those internal decisions, especially Yan, and Barry as well, because this is going to be the time where we integrate not only the IPFS side, but now we're integrating the Yan token into it. So Barry, who's obviously those who don't know, but he's a core developer on the blockchain side for PAC protocol. Me and him have been working with Unpack for years. He's not very public. He's not a doesn't jump into general chats often probably because we're working all the time. But he's also on a different time zone than myself and majority of our team. But either way, the beta is not going to be something that's extended. It's just us internally getting things ready and giving you guys a chance to play around with it without having to worry about Yan token for a while.
I love it. That's exciting for people because this is really, the starting line. We're in first gear now with PAC Protocol launching this tomorrow, 5 p.m. If anyone hasn't heard that in the other chat, in the other AMA that we did, 5 p.m. tomorrow this launches. And after this gets out of beta mode, we just start rolling through the gears and put the foot to the floor. Like, this is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing to kind of take note on the whole beta thing, people might see that like, oh, what does that mean really? Or like, why is it beta? There's a lot of mainstream products like number one, I'm thinking of Instagram. When Instagram first came out, I think it was considered beta for at least 2 years, or maybe it still is, I think. But either way, that's kind of the new norm now for development companies for their products to get in the hands of the people, let them to actually use it, and then we can there's so many features we've added, but there's probably one or two or 10 that are amazing that we just didn't think it because we just need more eyes, and the eyes come from the community.
And you know what? Just because I hope you guys can hear me, but Drew, I heard you, and I just want to say that Clubhouse is still, no longer, but it was, beta mode for a long time. So, again, like I don't know why that scares people, but I think I know for sure that when the product does come out, we'll be good to go. I have high expectations, as does everybody here.
That's why the product's named after Yan, right? We have so much confidence in him. He's so awesome.
Oh, that's never wavering.
Exactly. But a good point you're making there, David. Like, with this project, and here's this ties into a question from Ryan through Reddit, and he asks, what makes this project different than other IPFS projects out there?
I can go ahead and talk a good game. At this point, being that, at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, yanDNA will be released, I'm going to let the product, from my end personally, talk for itself. Because, again, we can talk a good game. We can say that we're better than everybody else. But I'm extremely confident that once this comes out, that people will fall in love with it. And we'll have, I know the PAC community is going to support us. We're going to have every single community look at yanDNA and say, you know what? All that yapping that was going on social media, they were right. Like this is it. This feels different,
And
we'll keep building on top of that.
yeah, I'll add to that just because my answer to that, I've been asked that multiple times of, oh, what's the difference between a main one that's been mentioned to me is like storage or a Filecoin or something like that. Another blockchain company or project that is obviously focusing on data distribution and IPFS integration, and I'll get questions like, oh, which one's better? Or you can't. I can never answer that for two reasons. One, me, just how I am personally, and our entire team, we're not here to compete. We're here to better anything and everything. If that means working with someone for us to get better or for them to get better, that's what we'll do. We're not bullheaded in that aspect. And then B, the other reason why you can't really answer that is because in a decentralized system, in a decentralized network, the users answer that question of which network's better. If there's another network that's being used way more often than another, well, that's kind of giving you your right away answer, right? Of like which who's using what, well, why? You have to answer that for yourself. And so when yanDNA gets pushed out and available for people to start using, everyone will be able to start answering that for themselves. And also the PAC protocol Masternode owners and the users in that community will be able to contribute to that answer of what network is better. Because we're not here to compete. We're not here to say we're better. We're here to make a solution for the future of data distribution to be fluent and to actually work. And that's our goal. That's not ever going to change. We're not here to be a competitive spirit. If anything, we're here to get better.
Yana has joined us. Hello, Yana. She's getting her microphone working. We've got Yan in here as well. I think Jay is in the audience. I think he is going to step up on stage in a minute as well. One, he just has to click on become a speaker on the pop out, I believe. But yeah, he's got to find that. I did the same thing. I couldn't find it for a minute. One of the things is really exciting I was thinking about here is, as PAC has progressed, PAC protocol, and there's been a line drawn in the sand between, speculation in the industry from, Pax tokenomics that are successful, now to a use case and through decentralization. Like these are things that, are achieved and they don't go back. Like they're in place. They become solidified. And I look at Pack as a use case now, and how the credibility is starting to go up, 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 and it's really starting to turn some heads, because when people hear about it, they're like, "Oh, that's fantastic!" Like there's no questioning the brand and the development and the use case. It is so rock solid. I just want to applaud everyone, on the team and the community for supporting this. Even tomorrow when it hits launch, I hope everyone just has a short little celebration, and then we get back to work. This is not like, when I watch baseball and you see the Blue Jays, celebrate for winning a playoff, and then they go and lose the next one, right? It's just a little bit of a celebration and then back to work. That's our mindset here. So I hope everyone kind of takes on the same thing.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, that's the only reason why I think that we're able to meet our deadline here in September, with everything going on in the world. Delays everywhere, and we're not even being in the same location as far as our team and where we're all based individually. We have such good chemistry that I don't think taking breaks is even in our nature.
Exactly. Sometimes see that with other projects where they launch something and then it's just everything stops. But it's funny how many things that we have on the agenda. And, coming up to this, our yanDNA launch marketing chat, that we're on every day and just working on putting out quality content for the community. Now we continue into phase 2. It's really exciting for our team to look at that and to just keep sharing that with everyone here who's listening. Should we do maybe a couple more questions and then wrap things up?
Yeah, let's do like 3 more.
Sure, sounds good. The one question here, this is a little bit more on the surface here. People are wondering, does YanSafe support Yan token?
I mean, obviously, eventually it's definitely going to be added, but that's not something that we've really put attention to because we've been focusing fully on just getting DNA out at the forefront. But I'm assuming that we'll get to that at one point, and that'd be something very easy for us to add because it's the Pack chain at that point. It would just be an update from Pack YanSafe, and that's just a question that Yan could ask as far as timeline. But we've all been focusing on yanDNA, so it'll happen, but I don't really have an answer for that because we've been focusing on yanDNA.
Yeah, I think what the community can look forward to is after launch here, we will be releasing a new roadmap. It'll give more specifics about what ties into yanDNA, what features will be coming out, what's being worked on. I personally love the idea of just playing around with concepts, and we're seeing in the questions here, things that the public wants to see, and we'll look at these things, and if something is a good feature and we can implement it, I'm sure that Drew and Yan and the rest of the team would love to implement solid features that can be looked at.
Yeah, and I'll give an answer. Yan actually just sent it to me. I'll read it off for you. He said at first, the community can use the debugger console to manage Yan token for now in YanSafe, and the same goes for the Qt wallet. So that's for now.
That's great. Yeah, we'll have lots of support and details. As everyone knows from experience, when YanSafe was released, it was pretty flawless. A few updates that come through, and that's how we roll. That's how we share things.
Yeah, and I know we have a couple more questions to get to, but I kind of want to set the tone for maybe we do another one of these AMAs a little bit later on the Pack protocol side, because I do want to have one of these open discussions on the voting mechanism of Pack protocol, because I've been seeing that come up a lot in just common questions. I know we're focusing on yanDNA, but that is a question that I'd like us to maybe dedicate one of these to, and we can get more community members aware of how they can participate in the monthly super block voting that is available in Pack protocol.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can schedule an event for that.
Sure.
Yeah. We had an interesting question here from Suresh Kumar, and he says he knows that the products that come out from PAC are fantastic. He's wondering, what will application and adoption be for other countries? Will there be other languages? India and China, big countries when it comes to managing data, obviously globally. Is there any outlook for that?
Are you talking about like the interface for yanDNA, like different options for languages?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so, right? Yeah. I mean, I think you included quite a bit in there. There's even different font options as well, but I think Yan has a list of a couple languages, if I'm not correct. If he's there, maybe he can send me a message.
It's fairly straightforward to accomplish that. So when you think about it, obviously we have team members in, North America, Europe, other areas around the world. And as this becomes global data management, that is absolutely in the roadmap to just offer support and to make sure that this can be shared globally.
Yeah, it's definitely in the plan to build multi-language support for yanDNA. I mean, for now, I believe the beta. Yeah, for now it's English only for the beta, but it's in the plans to build multi-languages for yanDNA support because it's obviously going to be needed. We have users from all over the world.
Absolutely. Back to another surface question. We may have heard this before, but Toby from Discord asked, silly question, why the name yanDNA? It's not as catchy as something like Dropbox.
Well, if you've ever dropped a box and it carried a package, you might break something. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, yanDNA is called yanDNA because Yan is one of our greatly loved developers, and he is a massive part of why this is coming to a reality. So, we always like to give credit where it's due, and not only that, but it's kind of our way of giving creationship rights to Yan. I mean, he's been a huge part of PAC protocol since coming on board, and everyone has nothing but good things to say about him. I think. But yeah, I mean, that's the reason. I mean, other than that, I mean, a name's a name, and I don't really care if the name is not loved by everyone. I think the product will be.
Exactly. It's sort of like, in two aspects. It's like naming a band. Some bands have just terrible names, but it's totally irrelevant. The music speaks for itself. Same thing with the software. Yet at the same time, with PAC Protocol, we give so much admiration and respect to our team members, to our community. Why wouldn't we name it yanDNA?
Yeah,
that's just, we
and
do
I
things
do want
differently.
to touch on that abbreviation, the DNA part. Yan is Yan. That's self-explanatory. DNA, the abbreviation stands for Decentralized Node Assembly.
That is very important for people to understand and to share. I think that's great. Well, we've covered most of the questions that we have from the Google form. If people have more questions, they can still email us at Koen, what's the email address? You want to see more questions come through for support? And as we get working on the FAQs for yanDNA and put up a tutorial and other things, which will be out very soon, we'll look to this. We'll look to the community for more of your questions, and we'll make sure that we cover all the bases.
Yep, absolutely. And also, everyone, DMs are open to me. So if you guys have anything that you want to say about yanDNA once you guys get it in your hands, anything that you might notice or any comments, just send me a message on Discord whenever. I'll try and get through them. But I really hope that you guys enjoy it. And, yeah, we're just really happy that we're finally here. It kind of felt like it dragged its feet a little bit, especially at the start of September. We started seeing the same questions appear way more often because we could notice the excitement was there. And I don't think we didn't share that excitement. We just obviously needed to put our heads down and focus to get this out for you guys. So we appreciate you all.
That's awesome. Well, thanks everybody. I guess we'll wrap this up and we'll get back to work.
Sounds good. Everyone have a good day.
Have a great day, everybody.
See you
Have
guys.
a great one. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys.